Izuku Midoriya, now 15 years old, had been cleaning up Dagaoba Beach as part of his training for One for All. After 6 grueling hours of work, he was drenched in sweat, his muscles burning from exertion. All Might watched the boy's progress, impressed by his perseverance, and decided to reward him with a treat for his hard work. He left Izuku to his own devices. "I've got to push myself even more." With a mighty yell, Izuku grabbed an old tire, dragging it through the sand. The tire, clearly from a dump truck, was heavy and reeked of age and neglect. Each pull left deep imprints in the sand, and sweat dripped down his forehead as he exerted every ounce of strength. As he pushed the tire, Midoriya began to reminisce about his past, meeting All Might and being offered One for All. The memories fueled his determination, driving him to push harder against the weight of the tire. Suddenly, a firm hand grabbed his shoulder and flung him away while pushing the blonde aside. Bakugu's 2 cronies backed away, their previous mocking of the quirkless boy replaced by fear as a new presence appeared, glaring at them. "Sheesh, I thought heroes were supposed to protect people, not belittle everything about them." A mocking voice sneered back at the blonde. Bakugu immediately felt his mood sour as he glared at the boy. "Levin!" he spat, venom dripping from his tone. One of the cronies, known as Yubi, quivered behind Bakugu. What are you doing here?" I don't know, maybe to stop 3 idiots from picking on my friend." Bakugu could only scoff. "You know, if you stopped protecting this nerd, you'd probably have it easier at this school. If my memory serves me correctly, you have so much on your permanent record that you're never getting into a hero school." Bakugo and his cronies were about to leave when Bakugo paused, a smug look on his face. "You know, you might actually be useful if you had a quirk. Why don't you take a swan dive off the building and pray for a quirk in your next life?" Kevin's eyes widened. He absorbed the ground beneath him. Bakugu only grinned as explosions crackled around his palm. Before Kevin could react, he felt someone grab his forearm. He turned to see Izuku, head down, shaking from side to side. Kevin looked at him. "Tsh!" Bakugu could only scoff before he left with his 2 friends. Kevin could only glare as Midoriya could only look down in shame, ever since they got into thanks to Bakugu basically shouting to the whole school of his quirkless nature. The school made it the absolute mission to make the boy's life a living hell. At least that would have happened. If it weren't for Kevin Levin basically threatening the school that if anyone touches him, they won't be able to eat without a straw for a month. Most didn't take this threat seriously, and that is where they made the mistake. One day, Midori was heading home when he was ganged up on by 5 upperclassmen who were eager to get the stress off and attacked the boy using their quirks. But when Kevin saw what they were doing well, he kept his promise. Due to this incident, those with common sense stayed clear away from both of them. However, the teachers and staff only heard one side of the incident. Instead of the boy protecting his friend from the bullies, he was a delinquent who beat them for nothing. Midoriya tried everything to tell them what happened, but they didn't want to listen to the quirkless kid. Kevin was enraged, even though he was given a warning after warning anyone who would even attempt to bully his friend he dealt with them. However, the students were puzzled as to why he was protecting the quirkless loser, even though he got nothing but a record for violence. Midoriya asked, "Why would he go so far for me?" His answer? "Because we're friends, you idiot. Anyone wants to pick a fight with you, they'll have to pick a fight with me. I got your back and you got mine." Midoriya didn't like the fact his friend was fighting people for him, so instead of being his weak, quirkless friend that he had to protect, he fought side by side, well, more like he tried fighting but immediately got pummeled. But Kevin found it hilarious that even though he was quirkless and no power to speak of, he would fight alongside him even though it meant he would have a record. Bakugo's voice brought them back to reality. "Both of you losers won't get into UA with those records. Don't even apply." He was interrupted by Kevin, who let out a long yawn. "Sheesh, I can't take this. Izuku, let's leave Blasty here with his sorry excuse for friends." "Oh, okay," Midoriya replied, grabbing his bag as they walked away, much to Bakugo's annoyance. "Thanks again for, dealing with Ka-chan." "Why do you still call that asshole Ka-chan?" Kevin asked, glancing at him. "It's honestly annoying watching you kiss that asshat's ass." But Ka-chan is strong and amazing? Seriously? No offense, Izuku, but admiring a guy like that doesn't show kindness. It just shows how you won't stand up for yourself. Kevin said bluntly, a light glare directed at his friend. "You're not being pure-hearted. You're just letting him walk all over you." Izuku looked down, feeling the familiar weight of their conversation. They had gone over this time and time again, and Kevin never hesitated to challenge him when he praised Bakugo. I get it, but he's just complicated. I know he can be a jerk, but deep down..." "Deep down?" Kevin scoffed. "You think there's some hidden gem in that explosive ego of his? Look, I know you want to see the good in people, but sometimes you just have to face reality. He's not worth your admiration. He's not worth your respect. You owe him nothing." Midoriya remained silent as they continued walking, wrestling with Kevin's words. "Anyway, I've got to work on my car. I'll see you later." "Wait, you're still working on that car? I thought you found it in a junkyard." "I did, but when I'm done with it, it'll go from a junk pile to a horsepower demon on wheels." "Don't you need a license for that?" "Hey, I already have a record. What's one more?" As Kevin left, Izuku waved goodbye before turning back to retrieve his hero journal. He didn't want Kevin to know what Ka-chan had done to his notebook, knowing it would only provoke a fight between them. So, he went back to get it. Later, he was attacked by a sludge villain and saved by All Might, his idol hero, only to grab onto him and fly through the air before landing on a rough. All Might, looking at the boy, could only stop for a moment before eyeing the boy carefully. "Wait, he looks like... Can I be a hero even though I don't have a quirk?" All Might's throats were cut off by the boy's question. Unfortunately, All Might couldn't give him the answer he so desperately wanted to hear. Everyone told him he could never be a hero. Even his longtime friend Kevin thought his chances were zero. That's what friend did, gave a truthful answer even if it might hurt you. After discovering his true form, All Might gave him the boy an answer, which was no. I should be more realistic. Now he stood gripping his backpack alone on the rooftop, his dreams crushed by the #1 hero. Later, All Might was proven wrong as this seemingly quirkless boy ran into a dangerous situation to save the life of a classmate. He had no plan, and he had no powers yet when pro-heroes froze at the scene, including All Might himself. He's the only who acted. With the boy's bravery, his ingenuity, the pro-hero couldn't help but be reminded of certain fire-breathing friend. After he had saved the boy and defeated the villain, he met up with the boy. But before he could offer him his quirk, he just had to know the boy's name. "Young man, now tell me your name." "Izuku Midoriya." All Might widened in shock. He then began to inspect the boy more closely before bursting into roaring laughter. "Midoriya? Huh, haven't heard that name in a while. Hisashi, you kept spouting that your son would be the greatest hero. I thought you were being a parent, but now I see him and met him. I can't help but agree, old friend." All Might? I deem you worthy of my power. My quirk is yours to inherit." All Might had just finished purchasing 2 meat buns, a smile of satisfaction crossing his face. But his contentment quickly dissolved when a bright light streaked across the sky, like a shooting star, but with an intensity that sent chills down his spine. The light grew larger, brighter, and began descending rapidly. His heart sank. It's heading for Dagobah Beach! With the realization, All Might dropped his buns, transforming instantly into his muscle form.
Young Midoriya!
He shouted, sprinting at full speed towards the beach, knowing disaster was imminent. At the trash-littered beach, Izuku Midoriya stood frozen, staring up as something plummeted toward the earth at blinding speed. Without warning, the sky erupted. The object tore through the atmosphere, shattering the clouds with a deafening boom. Midoriya widened his eyes in horror as the shockwave hit, sending trash and sand flying in all directions. The blast was so powerful it knocked him to the ground, scattering debris around the beach like an explosion at a landfill. The dust cloud that followed was thick, choking, and it enveloped everything. Midoriya coughed, stumbling to his feet, unable to see anything through the suffocating sand cloud.
What was that?
As the dust began to settle, Izuku noticed something glowing in the distance. His eyes locked onto a bright, pulsating orange sphere in the new crater within the sand. Midoriya's curiosity pulled him closer. The heat radiating from the sphere was palpable, distorting the air around it like a furnace. When he got near, he saw that it wasn't just a random object, it was a metallic pod of some kind. The pod hissed, and with a mechanical whir it began to retract and open. As it did, a vivid green glow bathed the trash-filled beach. Inside the pod was a strange device, unlike anything Midoriya had ever seen. "A watch?" he muttered. But this wasn't just any ordinary watch. Its design was sleek and futuristic, green and black with white accents, and the central dial glowed with the same bright green hue that lit up the pod. It seemed far more advanced than anything on Earth. The bands were thick and sturdy, the faceplate an hourglass-like symbol. "What's a watch doing in outer space?" Midoriya whispered, his heart racing. The heat from the impact still lingered in the air, but Midoriya's curiosity overrode any sense of danger. Slowly, he extended his hand toward the device, the eerie green light reflecting in his wide emerald eyes. Suddenly, the green glow intensified, and to his shock, the strange device leaped out of its pod and latched itself onto his wrist. What the? Midoriya yelped, stumbling backward in a panic. He desperately tried to shake it off, pulling and prying at the device, but it wouldn't budge. "Get off! Get off!" he shouted, his heart racing with panic. Realizing the watch wasn't going to come off anytime soon, Midoriya calmed himself enough to start fiddling with the faceplate. His fingers grazed over the smooth surface until, unexpectedly, he found what seemed to be an activation button. The faceplate popped up with a soft click, the hourglass symbol vanishing as it was replaced by a bright green light, almost blinding him. Midoriya shielded his eyes with his free hand, squinting against the sudden brightness. After a few moments, the light dimmed and he lowered his hand. His breath caught in his throat. Hovering above the faceplate, made of what looked like green holographic light, was the image of a jellyfish-like creature. Jellyfish? Weird-looking jellyfish, but definitely a jellyfish. Izuku's curiosity peaked as he turned the dial, revealing another figure. This one wasn't a jellyfish, instead had been what seemed to be a man on fire. "This is all cool, but doesn't exactly help me in getting you off. Maybe if I press this..." As he pressed down the dial, he widened as the boy was engulfed in a green light. It was all sudden as DNA was being altered. The boy felt no pain as his body seemingly transformed. He opened his eyes, and what stood where the boy was a plasma-based life form, engulfed in green flames.
Ah! I'm on fire!
The boy immediately went into a panic, running around the beach as the boy, seeing the ocean, immediately dove into hopefully the water that would extinguish his flames. The small waves washed over him with a hiss of steam, putting out the flames. Izuku sighed in relief only for the flames to burst, coming back to life, causing more steam to rise. Finally realizing that his body didn't feel like it was on fire, calming down and taking a deep breath. "Hey, I'm on fire, but I'm okay." The boy got out of the water as the waves caused him some mild pain. He looked himself over as if instincts took over. The boy created a fireball in his palm, and he widened before clenching his fist. I have a quirk, and a fire one at that? What else can I do?" A long-forgotten memory surged to the surface, the countless times he had desperately tried to breathe fire like his father, but had failed miserably. He had stomped his foot to the ground, inhaled deeply, and unleashed a massive wave of flames that melted the trash before him. The flames burned a brilliant green, just like his father's. He closed his mouth, fighting back tears of joy. "Dad, I'm just like you." With a thunderous crash, All Might landed in a superhero pose, a scowl etched across his face as he glared at the alien before him. "A Prionite, what have you done with young Midoriya?" Midoriya's heart raced with terror as All Might glared at him like a villain. He had never seen this side of the pro-hero, and it sent chills down his spine. "But wait, All Might, it's me!" The pro-hero showed no signs of backing down as he cracked his knuckles and began advancing toward the alien. In a moment of desperation, Midoriya realized he had to act fast. "One for all!" All Might halted, his expression shifting to one of curiosity as he looked at the fiery alien. "You planned on giving me one for all. I know about your injury, so please, for the love of God, don't pummel me." All Might's eyes widened in disbelief. "Young Midoriya?" he asked, waiting for some form of clarification. The fiery alien nodded, a sense of urgency building within him as he noticed the symbol emblazoned on his chest. "So the rumors are true? The Omnitrix is real. This has become more complicated than I thought."